So I'm walking home yesterday, walking home by that building down the street where I don't know what it's called, but somebody I think it was the same guy screaming out of the car. Like I was ignoring it, and then I looked back, and then he kept screaming something out of the car, like barking out the dog. I don't know if he's on drugs or what. He probably is on drugs. There's a lot of people out here on drugs. Freaking thing is circling around. As I was saying, when I was walking back, I think it was the same guy from before that was scaring something out of the car. I'm like, I just can't get a freaking break in this freaking town. Like, being left alone. Like, walking down the freaking street, always like being bothered. Like, that's harassment. Don't freaking know them, for one. I don't know if he's a freaking racist or what, because he was freaking barking like a freaking dog. Like, maybe he don't freaking have any freaking mental stability in his mind to talk. I deleted my the Snapchat because I don't really like Snapchat. I need to talk to the associates on there. So I made a new one so to keep it private because I don't even know why I made a Snapchat in the first place. I did have it in Nashville, but I had all that stuff on there and then I deleted it. That's why I think people were finding me too from there, from Snapchat, and so I deleted it. This one, I don't even have my location on there, like, or put my picture in my profile because I'm these freaking weirdos here following me. It's basically what they do on Snapchat anyway. It's a freaking danger site. I mean, internet is dangerous of how you use it, I guess. This town is freaking mad racist. Not everybody's racist though, but most of them are staying at the stupid mentality from back in the days. I don't know. I just ignore people. I ain't worried about it. I need to get something when I'm walking for protection to um being that I'm a single female walking by myself. I need to protect myself because there's a lot of strange stuff happening. Like being here, people, certain individuals. I don't know if they are like certain these white young weird guys that live around here. Um, when I'm sitting downtown, like yelling when I'm sitting downtown on the freaking bench at me, like for what? Because they don't like black people. That's why. Because they said the N word to me when I was walking up. I think it was the same ones. I was walking up, going to the bar, and it was like, you love such and such N word. I'm like, I kept going, like walking and ignoring it, like if I recorded it. And then I'm walking up here. I don't know if that's the same individual. And he's screaming out of the car or something. I can't even really hear it. I just ignore it. And I think that's the second time the individual said something out of the car at me. I don't even know him. Shouldn't be saying nothing to me. I don't even know you. Like, I'm not from your town. I don't know you. I don't want to know you. Completely not from this freaking town. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm not from Tennessee. I'm not from Crossville. I think the freaking guys out here act lame out here. The freaking them young white guys with them little fast cars. Guess they're coming from their little rich families, thinking they're all that and stuff, speeding down the street and stuff like that. Freaking lame to me. It says, I'm sorry to hear your experiencing harassment, being followed or intimidated because of your race is unacceptable. What is the text message coming from? Like, ridiculous. I have no idea. Document details of all suspicious incidents, dates, times, descriptions of people, vehicles of all impossible. Photos, videos too, if it's safe to discreetly record. Contact your local police non-emergency line to file an official report and ask for extra patrols of your neighborhood too. Inform trusted neighbors, friends in case you need a witness or help, but be selective who you tell for safety. Consider a discrete security camera for your property that can record license plates if needed as evidence. Seek a restraining order against known individuals if harassment is persistent enough to meet legal criteria, and contact local advocacy groups like the ACLU for additional guidance and support documenting this as possible a hate crime. Prioritize your safety and don't engage or retaliate against harassers yourself. Law enforcement, legal avenues are the best approach to stop this threatening behavior through official channels with discreet preventive measures. Come on, go away. They just keep sending me stuff. Your right documenting details is important here. Write down everything you remember as soon as after the incident as possible while the details are still fresh. Include things like what was said or done, license plates. Oh my lord. Keep documentation organization in one location like a notebook rather than scattered notes on loose paper. Consider taking discrete photos from a window or suspicious vehicles, people if possible, being careful not to put yourself at risk. Share documentation with a non-resident police number when filing official reports so they have a detailed account. You're absolutely right. It's completely ridiculous and unacceptable that you're having to go through this harassment. No one should have to feel unsafe or intimidated in their own community. It's really not my community. We're just living here. Well, it is my community because I'm living here for now, but it's not. I'm not from here. I don't own the ownership of this town, Crossville, Tennessee. I don't like it here. I don't even like how the. I just don't like the freaking how the name the people act. Unacceptable that you're having to go through this harassment. No one should have to feel unsafe or intimidated simply because of their race. I don't have any lived experience of what you're facing, so I can, yeah. You make a good point. Just because someone may know your application as a YouTube vlogger does not in any way justify harassment or temptation. A few additional thoughts. What you do should have no bearing on your right to safely exist in your community without fear. Perhaps the harassment is partly motivated by intolerance of your visibility, success as a content creator, in addition to racial bias. However, the root cause doesn't negate that what's happening is wrong. It needs to be addressed through official means. Documenting a correlation between innocence and YouTube activities could potentially strengthen legal cases by demonstrating this isn't random, but rather target prejudiced behavior. Consider alerting YouTube of any doxing threats or bridging occurring related to your channel as well to get an additional part. Staying visible through your platform may help empower others facing similar discrimination by sharing your experience. But prioritize safety. File reports instead build a paper trail if intimidation escalates. You seem understandably frustrated by unfairly facing problems for simply doing. I hope your local authorities intervene properly to resolve this unacceptable situation soon. You raise a fair point. It is possible to assist for certain while you're experiencing harassment, and there could be many complex factors at play unrelated to your vlogging. The most important things are talking about. Yeah, it says apologies. I confused again about the context of the Snapchat mention to clarify the point about Snapchat. He previously kept an open Snapchat profile when homeless, which may have intentionally exposed personal details. Now, living in a new area for privacy reasons, you felt it's best to make a private Snapchat profile instead of being openly visible. This change in Snapchat privacy settings itself has nothing to do with any potential harassment you experienced since. Adjusting social media privacy is a reasonable personal choice unrelated to any issues going on offline. I don't think you can reasonably blame yourself for what's happening if you fought on that. Having an open Snapchat profile previously does not justify threats or harassment in any way. People are ultimately responsible for their own behaviors, not how others choose to use social media. Safety practices can evolve over time as the situations change, like making profiles private now. That's understandable. Updating privacy isn't a mitten fault. It's a normal adjustment as needs and comfort levels vary. Now that profiles are private, ongoing invitation can't logically be blamed on past social media choices either. The motivations behind unacceptable harassment are complex and multifaceted. Faucet using not because of any one's personal action or mission. Please don't feel at fault here. You didn't cause or deserve this treatment. While it was wise generally to be mindful of privacy, that still doesn't legitimize others overstepping legal and moral boundaries. With threat to racism, your right to exist peacefully in public spaces isn't conditionally on social media settings. I hope authorities So it says, I understand what you're saying that by having an openly visible profile on Snapchat in the past where pictures were publicly shared, you felt it may have drawn unwanted attention. However, I don't think openly using social media necessarily justifies or excuses any harassment. Threats or intimidation you experience since a few reasons. Posting on social media is a personal choice that people make every day. It doesn't relinquish anyone's basic right to safety. How others choose to engage online doesn't determine their worth or make threats acceptable. No one has the right to threaten or intimidate you, regardless of how you previously choose to engage online. Your right to freely exist is not conditional upon social behaviors. This difficult experience is not a reflection of your character or decisions. The fault lies entirely with those committing discriminatory acts that undermine community well-being and basic human decency. Authorities advocates should work to resolve this valid concern through recognized legal means so that your long-term security and peace of mind can be assured within the community. And, yeah, I said I'm from Pennsylvania, came here for family. I didn't want to live here, but I'm just so stuck on the damn same things. Mm. She doesn't want to talk about anything. You're right that some smaller towns or rural communities can tend to be less diverse or exposed to different cultures compared to larger, more urban areas. A lack of diversity alone doesn't define a place or its people, but it does present challenges and promote inclusion and understanding between groups, overcoming and secular mindsets, taking ongoing effort through open mind and honest dialogue, relationships building across perceived divisions and ensuring equal treatment and opportunity for all. While progress happens gradually, communities that make strengthening civil rights and welcoming new residents a priority. Even in the face of difficult adjustments, will come stronger and more welcoming places over time. Somebody sent me, gave me this. They gave me. They said, "Are you hungry?" They gave me some food and they gave me Bible stuff. I'm already a Christian. I already believe in God exists and stuff, all that stuff. It's about. What's that about? Oh, I think Gnosticism. It says the belief that we can't know with certainty whether God exists is the bedrock principle of a word root called agnosticism. Agnostics are different from that. Agnostics are different from theists, people who believe God exists, and atheists, people who believe the exact opposite, in that they try to remain neutral on the subject, being willing to admit God might exist, and just as willing to admit he might not, whether it because they believe there's not enough reliable information to make a firm decision or because they wish to avoid offending someone who has already taken a side. Agnostics choose to opt out on the question of God's existence altogether. Incidentally, there are a couple of obstacles to agnosticism that many don't realize. First, though, in recent years, the word agnostic more commonly means not knowable. Its original meaning is rooted in what the ancient Greeks called ignorance. Simply put, an agnostic was someone short on knowledge. Second, agnosticism is a word rule based on faith rather than fact. As a matter of fact, in one sense, all word rules are based on faith. Let me explain. Theism, atheism, and agnosticism are all faith based in the sense they cannot be proven true or false just by looking at evidence. That's to say, how people interpret evidence depends on which worldview they bring to it. That's why theists and atheists can both look at the same fossil and come away with entirely different conclusions about it. It all depends on which word group they already embrace it. Because a belief is faith based doesn't mean it's false, nor does it mean it is blind faith without any evidence to support it. There can be very good reasons and evidences for putting one's faith and belief, as well as very good reasons and evidence for why not to. Conclusively, a word must first be evaluated on the basis of its rationality and logic, as well as how it lines up with reality before we can know if it rightly interprets evidence, since I suspect you want to be both rational and logical, and above all, not be ignorant. I'm guessing you want to see if your word root passes the test. Keep reading and we'll see how it measures up. There are many versions of theism and pantheism, polytheism and monotheism being the most common. Throughout this booklet, the term theism will refer to monotheism, the belief that there is only one God, and especially the belief in the existence of the Judeo-Christian God of the Bible. The agnosticism underlying belief. We believe many things because we first hold preceding or underlying beliefs that give rise to them. For instance, we might believe it's a good idea to carry an umbrella with us because we first believe it's likely to rain, or we might believe we should fill up our fuel tank because we first believe it will soon be empty. Agnosticism, like all word roots, is derived at the same way, but our agnosticism underlying beliefs really is that solid. Do they make sense? And do they give us good reasons for putting our faith in agnosticism? To answer these questions, we will examine some of the more commonly held underlying beliefs of agnosticism to see if they are illogical or perhaps even self-defeating, because there may be internal consequences if agnosticism proves to be false. Understanding its underlying belief is crucial. When a statement is self-defeating, it means the statement can't possibly be true because it cancels itself out. For example, the statement, I am certain we can't know anything with certainty, is a self-defeating proposition. If we really are certain we can't know anything with certainty, then the statement is obviously false. You might say self-defeating statements commit suicide every time they are stated. We can't believe in God's existence until science proves it. That's their underlying belief number one. When agnostics say there isn't enough evidence to confidently believe in a supernatural God's existence, they are usually meaning there isn't the kind of evidence that will force people to believe in God, and even if they don't wish to. In a sense, that is true. Scientists can't go into a laboratory and perform measurable, objective experiments on anything that is, by definition, metaphysical, something that transcends both space and time like a supernatural God. Conversely, atheists can't go into a laboratory and scientifically prove God doesn't exist for the very same reasons. Therefore, insisting on this kind of scientific proof of God's existence or non-existence is inconsistent with scientific realities, which makes it an irrational demand. But there another problem with this belief that makes it self-defeating. If we say we can't believe in anything unless science first proves it, then before the statement itself can be believed, science must first prove the statement is true. Unfortunately for agnostics, there is no scientific proof. The statement is true, otherwise everyone would agree it is true, which obviously do not. In fact, most, including agnostics, believe in all kinds of things science can't prove, like love, morality, and beauty. Consequently, we can't rely on science alone to tell us which review is true. And there is a well-known story about four blind men who attempted to describe an elephant just by touching the part of the elephant in front of them. The man standing by the elephant's trunk likened the animal to a snake. The one standing next to it laid The one standing next to its leg likened the elephant to a tree trunk. The man standing along its side likened the creature to a large smooth wall. The individual at its tail likened the elephant to a whip. Because all four men had limited perception, none described the elephant accurately or in its entirely. Instead, they reached woefully wrong conclusions because they believed their limited knowledge was the only knowledge that was available. A lot of agnostics attempted to use illustrations like this to support their argument that because we have limited abilities to know, we can never know anything about God's existence with certainty. But there are problems with this line of reasoning. First, not all people are limited in the same sense as the four blind men, otherwise, we couldn't know what they were getting wrong in describing an elephant. Second, there are often ways to obtain information we can't see for ourselves. So while admittedly no single one of us can know everything, there is to know about a given subject. We can know enough to make certain decisions about it, provided we have a reliable source of information. Finally, using illustrations like this to support agnosticism is a self-defeating. If everyone's ability to know is limited, then so is the agnostics, including what he knows about God's existence. Simply put, this agnostic can't have it both ways. If it's possible, he can know enough to conclude God's existence is unknowable, unknowable. It's also possible he can know enough to know God's exists if in fact he does. Agnosticism is more tolerant than other worldviews. Many agnostics think not choosing a side on the matter of God's existence makes them more tolerant because they are not saying either side is wrong. But is this really the case? The first thing we have to understand is that tolerance doesn't mean not taking a side on the issue. Tolerance means we can make room for opinions or beliefs other than our own, while we might believe for very good reasons that a particular view is wrong. Being tolerant means we still afford respect to the people who hold it. Unfortunately, many have recently refined tolerance to mean giving equal value to all beliefs, even when opposing beliefs contradict one another. Your truth is your truth, and my truth is my truth, is how we often hear it. And what it really amounts to is that no one can ever be considered wrong. That's obviously illogical. We can't rationally believe two opposing truth claims can be true at the same time and in the same context. For instance, we can't logically believe that a person who says 2 plus 2 equals 4 and the person who says 2 plus 2 equals 5 are both right. To believe at least one of them is wrong isn't intolerant, it's just common sense. The logical nature of this underlying belief also makes it self defeating. If we believe no one can ever be wrong, then we must also believe no one can ever exclusively right, including the person who says nothing is true. Gnosticism is more intelligent than other worldviews. The belief that uncertainty about God's existence is a more intelligent approach is often the result of accepting the three underlying beliefs we just examined. But as we've seen, those underlying beliefs are questionable for a number of reasons, which should make us wonder if Gnosticism is a more intelligent worldview after all. Another problem with this belief is that it's inconsistent with the certainty we want in most other areas of our lives. Imagine sitting on an airplane and hearing the flight attendant announce, "Welcome aboard Foggy Airlines. You'll be happy to know our pilot today is uncertain about how to fly this airplane. I doubt you would need much help in finding the nearest exit." Finally, like the other underlying beliefs, this one is also self-defeating. If we equate uncertainty with intelligence, then we can't assert we certain that God's existence is unknowledgeable without specifically associated the assertion with unintelligence. Perhaps we should see if certainty about God's existence and intellectual actually go hand in hand. After all, little intelligence goes a long way when it comes to solving puzzles. Creation and why should give me short answers? Let me clear this dumb thing out. Why is it taking so long? You're making an excellent point. Looking to God's creation as evidence of his existence is a Elohim honoring theological perspective and one affirms in scripture. Romans chapter 120 says God is visible qualities have been clearly seen through what has been made, so people are without excuse. Psalms chapter 19 verse 1 says that the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. In Job chapter 12 verse 7 verse 9 says, ask the animals or birds if they don't know, have them teach you, or let the plants of the earth inform you. Acts chapter 14 verse 17 has Paul saying God did not leave himself without witness by doing good and giving rains and fruitful seasons. The already complex diversity and sheer immensity of the universe powerfully point to an intelligent designer. From biology to astronomy, the fingerprints of a creator are everywhere. As the Bible says, creation itself testifies to God and leaves humanity without excuse for not perceiving his existence. It's a rational evidence based argument from nature that cannot be ignored, and you make an important biblical point.